if you have minimal risk, but you didn't evaluate risk, you're not complying, 7% of revenue. The responsibility will lie on you, on your company, to evaluate risk and establish processes.
I bring to you Elena Bobkova. Thank you.
Hi everyone. So the QR code on the screen is not the QR code to my LinkedIn or to any kind of business card information. It's more practical application of the presentation. So you can relax right now, even if you missed the half of the presentation, you can look at my website, what I'm going to say. And it will be more like a relaxed approach to bring you one message from my presentation. What is the most important to do right now in the area of AI governance? Every time when people ask me, so what do you do? And it's really kind of complex and boring to start listing the ISO standards numbers, 42001, 27001, it's like make people confused. So what I do, and it's my specific expertise, I'm working with biggest enterprises in the world who has from 200 to 5,000 sites around the globe. And I'm working with the top management, stakeholders, and investors to outline the compliance strategy for the next 5-10 years. It's very important because in heavily regulated area, in the healthcare, for example, finance, and right now the heavily regulated, it's automotive, because we basically driving computers on the wheels. All these industry, they have a lot of different regulations. And if you can imagine how many audits they have in a year for each site and how much they pay for that, how much they pay for employees who facilitate these audits. So I'm not only leading global audits for these 255,000, my biggest client has 5,000 sites. And not only lead audits and outline the sampling size for each audit of those sites, but also to understand where the different requirements, where the different certification schemes and compliance methods are overlapping each other. So the company wouldn't have, for example, quality management system, environmental management system, security certification, and AI governance in 4 different departments and run 4 different audits. So my area is help companies to understand how the future of governance will look like, so they can save billions of dollars, because they will not have extra 2-3 months of audits and certification. So in a matter of that, AI governance is really kind of hot topic right now. It's really important to understand, because now we in the quiet area among the tornado or quiet beach before the tsunami. Everyone using AI, all companies using AI, no one understands what risk it's posing, what opportunity it's posing, how to grasp that without risk. And what is the most important, we don't know the mandatory requirements yet. So everything what we have in the legislation area related to AI, it's all declarational. It's more like a statement. We all have to use AI responsibly, blah, blah, blah. If you will not use it responsibly, it's pretty much nothing. No one can do. So it will not be like that forever. And when the time is come, when we have to comply, we need to understand for what companies the compliance will be mandatory, and what will be consequences of non-compliance. And the most important thing is how to integrate AI in the existing governance. So first, I want to explain you the AI governance environment, the timeline what we have right now, and why European Union AI Act is really important for us, for US companies, and pretty much for any US company size. So, as we all understand, AI now is everywhere, and the trust to integrated AI shouldn't be automatic. So what I notice in the audits, in big companies, small companies, sometimes they evaluating suppliers, they evaluating software platforms, and those suppliers saying we AI integrated. In fact, it's just machine learning. It's not any difference from 5 years ago. So it's kind of not posing big risk. They're just using it for marketing, and it's not really kind of require a lot of attention. But maybe this company is really serious about compliance. They do AI certification, they do implementation, and suddenly we as the customer start paying a lot of attention to them. And we forgetting what there is a lot of our proven vendors which we've been working for years. They probably also integrated AI. And they have such an invasive integration in all our process. And we already evaluated them as a supplier. So they already pass our evaluation. We trust them. We work with them 5-10 years. We cannot transfer our database to another platform. But they integrated AI quietly. They only changed the small font terms and conditions, saying as soon as you sign this, you agree with everything. But we don't know what risk it poses. So the biggest risk right now is the big company who we are already working with, who we trust, and they might be not on the level of understanding AI risk. So these were our biggest vulnerability lies. So AI systems everywhere, and what we have in the timeline of AI mandatory implementation, European Union AI Act is the only legislative act right now what is mandatory for everyone. So right now, it's entered into force in August 2024. Right now, it's in a stage of developing infrastructure. So they building certification body agreements, they qualifying auditors, they accrediting different notifying bodies to establish this reinforcement. As the person who auditing for many years, I audited in the different countries, in Australia, in UK, in Russia. I can tell you, you can have strictest law possible, but if you don't have reinforcement system, it doesn't mean anything. So if companies can follow that, maybe not follow that, for example, Australia and food safety law. So all Australia food safety law, very detailed, very strict, but it's based on a self-assessment questionnaire. So auditors never coming on a site, never seeing what happened unless some incident, serious incident happening. And then it's happening, you coming on site, you realize 10 years, they're not working as it should be. And it's maybe not intentional. Maybe they don't have resources, they decided to save money, they don't understand half of the requirements. So it's not always intentional, but because it's not reinforced, they never will try to get better at that, at compliance. So this is what we have with AI right now. So right now, from the August 2024 to August 2026, European Union building the infrastructure, not only in Europe, in US, all certification body in US, TÜV, Diagnostic Veritas, BSI, Deloitte, all certification body building infrastructure to be able to audit against the European Union Act. What's happening in 2026 GPAI rules? When everyone who fall into that area of compliance will have to implement European Union AI Act. And in September 2027, full reinforcement begin with fines up to 7% of revenue. And I really hope they will change that, because GDPR fines 4%. And GDPR fines 4%. As a lawyer, I can say to you what, as GDPR phrased that, you can technically define the area where you had data breach and pay only for that. 7% of revenue for AI violation, you will not be able to identify that. If it's software what you're using for payroll, if it's software what you're using for customer, that would be the global revenue. So you will not be able to define where it lies. So who is falling under European Union Act? I'm improvising now and trying to kind of see where I can cut presentation to make it shorter, because you can read more details by the QR code, what will be at the end also. So how to understand if your company fall under that European Union Act? Technically, the rules are the same as for GDPR. If you have one at least employee who is a European Union citizen, you're falling under GDPR. If you have one customer who resides on the territory of European Union and you possess the private data, you're falling under the GDPR. So that, and it's also added the risk what your company or product of your company can pose for European Union citizens or European Union society. So unacceptable risk, I'm suspecting what all security software developers will be fall under that, because it would be facial recognition data, private data storage and processing. And another unacceptable risk, which I guess software developers will be altering their revision on the European Union selling and on the US and other world. So you cannot implement AI recognition in a camera, which honestly, the best feature ever. Because my husband also works in the security. We're not using camera at home or on people, but we have 36 camera on the farm. So it's recognizing animal behavior and recognizing pet, distinguishing small pet from the big pet, and kind of recording. And oh man, how much I learned from that, you have no idea. I designed the entire farm processes under that recognition. Only because it's allowed to track AI. You will not be able ever track 24 hours of video recording of scientific experiment, for example, or 24 hours of recording. It's a lot of application what not related to security. But of course, if company will not be able to develop this security, if it will be banned, they will not have financing. And it's kind of risk and opportunity what we will have to face to do not have investment in that technology because of harmful use probably, or banned use in European Union, or possible opportunity what we could use, but we never had time to learn that because it's banned. So unacceptable risk banned, it definitely will be falling under that. So any company what developing software, what will have face recognition, security tracking, anything what they decided can do the harmful manipulation or can be used in targeting facial recognition, you will not be able to sell in Europe. So it's mean the different sales rules, it's mean the different software developing rules for European Union and US. Right now, the data transfer because of the GDPR is complicated as hell, honestly. A lot of companies paying million and million to trying to avoid the data transfer because they have employees in Europe and in US and in different roles. So don't know how that will be implemented. Minimal risk, free use, high risk, regulated, limited risk, transparency. That three, even that four, still puts on you a lot of requirements to establish and run all those processes on a risk evaluation. So it's a risk-based approach. Even if you have minimal risk, but you didn't evaluate at risk, you're not complying, 7% of revenue. So the problem is the responsibility will lie on you, on your company, to evaluate risk and establish processes. You will have to prove if your software, what you're offering on European Union or for European Union citizen who may live in US, I don't know how it will be managed also, have a minimal risk. So from the perspective of the company who already implemented informational security, GDPR, it's easy to tweak it under that. You will just have to add extra risk management, extra risk assessment. And this is what we kind of talking about. And as you understand, the universal applicability means what it's not just European Union company. Because the Apple Store, for example, Android software, Android application, when you uploading that, do you ever see who is developer and where they reside? I always look at that. Because there is certain developers who I not trust with my personal data. And this is really important because when we're buying software, what is really invasive in our phones, which we always carry with us, which is really invasive with our computer, it's really harmful. I look at the phone Apple Intelligence, the new feature what they introduced last year, and honestly don't recommend that because I developed paranoia right away. Somewhere the application was synchronizing my personal contact for 1.5 gigabyte for the entire night. Why? Why the weather application on Earth would need my contact details? I know, maybe for marketing, but why? So some application right now violating those rules because if you not agree to provide them that synchronization data, they simply stop working. And that would be even more serious with that AI governance. Because if they stating in the marketing what they're using AI, even if they use just machine learning, they will have to comply with that. They will not be able to sell it anywhere where potential European Union citizen can buy that. So for us, for auditors, for compliance, for implementers, it's a good thing. We will have more job, we will have more money, right? But that would be my different message to you. So as we understand, the jurisdiction who fall under that act, it's not location, but impact. If it's AI implemented software, if it's AI integrated product, and it can potentially impact European Union society or European Union citizen, it's fall under that. And right now, by my work in certification body, I was in a close contact with European Union Act developers. And they're thinking to change some phrasing, but they still didn't. For example, may fall clause mean everyone falls under that. Because may fall, it means you have to prove what you're not falling under that, which means you implementing the entire governance methodology with risk assessment, with everything, only for proving you're not falling under that. So that's what my fall means. So again, enforcement timeline, 2024-2025 setup, they implementing the building infrastructure for reinforcing that, which is kind of really smart move because if you just do the European Union AI Act, which everyone's talking about, you can make state huge fine, but if you're not reinforcing that. GPAI model rules will begin at August 2026, and it's mean general purpose AI. General purpose AI, it's any AI what integrated in any size of the product. So it's mean impact-based, risk-based application. And the 2027 full reinforcement. So if you look at the enforcement, what needs to be implemented, you will see a lot of familiar processes. Internal conformity, self-audit, documentation, risk management plan, compliance record maintain. We can see that in any informational security compliance framework, right? We can see it in ISO compliance, we can see it in almost everything. So we have the structure, we have the auditors who skilled audit that. And the slightest tweak what we need to make is to understand what to audit, where to shift our focus as auditors, as implementers, to add the essential features. For example, human in a loop, human oversight proof. If AI making decisions, we need to prove what the human in a loop. Transparency requirements. It's for AI integrated development model, what training data is used and how it's traced. So I said that already. So I always kind of trying to build the understanding what ISO standards is not the compliance framework. It's not the compliance certification. It's more the compliance tool. It's the universal tool what help you to walk you step by step in a company to make sure that you're compliant with everything and your management system is stable. And what is the good? It's really good for 42001. First, side note, there is not too many right now 42001 auditors and trainers. 2 years ago, I was the first trainer qualified to train for 42001 in North and South America. Right now, it's probably 3-4 auditors with experience and about 10-15 without experience, with certification. So for us, as for implementers and auditors, it's mean high demand on the job market, big money. For the companies, it's mean they can buy ISO certification texts and walk their company step by step through ISO 42001 methodology and make sure what they fail-proof ready for European Union AI Act. Because the requirements are the same. People who were developing European Union AI Act, the same people who were developing ISO 42001. The same university, institute, location, the same team, and they were using the same data. So the requirements pretty much the same. It just ISO, it's voluntarily. No one will fine you for not following that. It's just helping you to get to the certification level. And most of the companies don't know you can have status of your company of fully compliant and implemented ISO standards, but not being certified. It means you just don't have third-party verification, and you can have it at any time. The worst-case scenario for me as for auditors is the companies who waiting until the very last moment when the customer asks them for certification. They hire third party, not even trying to invest in a training, not even trying to invest in any knowledge, and they're saying, oh, we're paying consultant, they handle that. And I'm saying, guys, I'm not auditing documentation. I'm not auditing consulting company. Those time passed 20 years ago. I'm auditing you. I need you to explain me how you implemented that. And they don't understand the word. So this is the worst case scenario. It means you have the artificial compliance, something what created by consulting company. Maybe it's the best consulting company, but it's artificial for your company. It doesn't bring you value. You're just wasting your money for the on a certificate. So that's not the smart way to do that. So the smartest way is probably train employees, try to go through integrated management system certification, and it's not call management system just for sake of calling that. Management system, it means it includes everything. It includes supply chain management, third party, customer satisfaction, society impact. It's not only technical part, it's everything. And if you already have quality, environmental, informational security, data privacy ISO, it will add just extra tweaks to your ISO because all ISO built by one high-level structure. So by standards, $160, ISO.org, the primary source of information. And you can try to implement it in your company, gaining experience, valuable experience, what always will be with you. You can get certification as a lead auditor after, and you can certify your company when that company needs that. So 42001, it's a dress rehearsal. It's an early preparedness plan for European Union Act. No matter what tweaks, what changes will be in this European Union Act, your company will be ready for that. And it's well integrated with informational security, data privacy ISO, internet services, it's any intangible services quality, and tangible product 9001. It's also really well integrated with business continuity. I qualified for 17 different ISO, so I can audit company for 17 ISO at once, which is curse rather than blessing, honestly. So this is why I really wanted to build the presentation the way I built that. This is my most important message to you today. As a people who directly related to the governance, compliance, audit, implementation, to the security, we have knowledge of existing process. We have knowledge, essential knowledge of evaluating risk, of managing risk, of evaluating impact, of evaluating business continuity, change management. So we have all that. The only thing we need is to understand how integrate this small part of AI governance into existing processes. So we have all knowledge and experience what 90% of people, of employees don't have. Then they will look at that, they will be scared and don't know where to start. So we have already the system built. And we need to understand what AI governance is the same governance as informational security, as quality, as any governance security framework what we deal with. We just need to understand difference and make sure we're ready for that difference, for that implementation. So AI only changes, AI governance only changes what we audit, not how we audit. So we auditing the same, we implementing processes the same, and we focusing on AI risk. We focusing on AI impact. What is the difference? AI risk, it's our company risk. And AI risk can be in 3 different areas. And this is my personal invention. I don't know if I want to do copyright on that. So I invented that 2 years ago. AI risk lies in a 3 different areas. Quality of AI output. It's what we see in LinkedIn. Then it's AI-generated text, meaningless, and this is poor quality. But it doesn't relate it to security at all. Next, it's security issue. It's security risk. When we inputting training data, what has personal data, When we fall under social engineering, that's security problem. And IP protection. IP protection, it's very rare, but it's really important for research and development companies. And I usually explain it like that. So AI is not inventing answers. AI predicting our next word, our next answers, especially if AI align under your training data, under you. So AI really large language model and large particular language based. I know this as no one as a bilingual. So let's say I work in a company who developing a unique nuclear technology based on the latest research was done in a secret lab in US. Everything done in English language. And somebody from that lab has Swahili language. And they decided to translate it in Swahili. I don't know if it's possible. And input that in a ChatGPT or any open AI. So if somebody make requests on other side of the world of that particular close to nuclear technology in Swahili language, probably they will receive that secret information. Because AI cannot predict next step. It doesn't have enough data available. It cannot translate to the different language terminology what doesn't have kind of proven translation. It will just give you that answer. And I am facing a lot of that examples which I'm really eager to use in my training. I have a lot of case studies. So in the Russian environment of OpenAI, it's not too many training data in Russian because it's a lot of services banned and everything. And I see really hilarious examples. So far, they're harmful examples, but can you imagine what we can do with that, which is scary. So the woman who do the stand-up comedy in Russian, in very rare kind of topic, in very rare area, in Russian, woman, also really rare kind of cases, she creating ChatGPT jokes, and if the jokes is horrible, she's saying it's perfect. Altering the training data so it would kind of remove your opponent. And she gave a couple of examples in internet what other her competitors used the similar jokes, what she said it's perfect. So of course she didn't use it. We putting aside why person have so much time to mess with the ChatGPT, but it's just an example. So it's still language model, and we still need to understand whatever we input on that, if it doesn't have enough similarity of data to predict next step, to process the big, large data, it potentially can leak sensitive IP information. So that three areas which we need to concentrate risk assessment, which is really different from informational security or quality because it's covering all three. These three parts. And by the end of that, this one and this, it's two different practical applications what I prepared for you based on that presentation, so you can have it. If you will not be able to scan QR code, you can find it on my site, Bobkova.ONLINE. One ISACA for ISACA presentation, and another one for European Union AI Act. So my second biggest message to you at the end, what I want to ask you, I had a really interesting comment in a LinkedIn. Which comments always, I love comments. If they not pleasant, it's even better because people put passion in that. That was pleasant. So the person asked, what the next step you would recommend company to do, what the first, the most important step, or what after the presentation, to do to be closer to AI governance? It's a really interesting question. So what do you think? Can somebody give me your ideas? what would be the most important for the company to do right now to be closer to AI governance?
Have an inventory of AI.
Great, great. Agreed. And inventory, it's what we have AI related, right? Probably resources, knowledge. So my answer was to train your employees. So your employees will be on board and they will understand risk, opportunities, and they will be on board with you when you will need to implement all that. Because the most horrible situation, it's when on your work, you're only one who understands that, and you're trying to push that train in that direction, and just people don't have enough knowledge and information to understand how critical is that. To avoid that, you need to bring everyone on your level of understanding. And this is what training is do. So the training, I think, is the most essential part of the first step. So you will be working in that direction as a team, not as a one person. And another one, what I would kind of recommend you to do, if you consulting company, if you consultant, if you're working with the customers, and if you're working in the area of AI compliance. In that area, we don't have competitors right now. We don't. Because the market is on a kindergarten stage. And what we need to do collectively, we need to educate companies on a basic level of understanding what they need to do and how they will use AI. So we need to explain them, here's the risk, but you don't have to be afraid of the risk. You have to be aware about them, you have to evaluate them, because it's also a lot of opportunities which if your competitors will use it, you will be way behind them in the next 3-4 months. So the level of market understanding right now, it's so low, what we're not even close to that, to AI governance, to anything. And this is why I would highly recommend you, if you can post, if you can write about that. If you can speak about that. If you can train your employees, train your employees. But the point is, we need to more people understand the risk and opportunities of AI integration. Because if you will not be able to do that, if you auditor and you will include AI into implementation, no one sees value in that. Because they weren't aware about that issue. They will look at the audit report and say, okay, it's AI word. I like it, but what does it bring to company? So the point is to educate external customers, internal customers, management. It's kind of the at least basic level of understanding. Where is AI and what risk it's posed? So that's my main message to you. We don't have to invent the AI governance. We already have the entire structure. We only need to tweak it. But for our company and for our customers to appreciate that, what we did that, we need to educate them first. So they would understand why we did that and why our company, why we different from other companies, because we thought about that. Not now, or not in 2027 when it's needed. We thought about that before. So if we just quietly do that, no one would appreciate that because people not even aware about that issue. That's pretty much all. If you have any questions.